Gosh, that's a nice segue. All right, let's talk about these alleged text messages leaked to journalist Peter van Onselen, who controversially revealed them at the National Press Club yesterday.
Prime Minister, at the start of your speech, you mentioned your close friendship with Marise Payne. I wanted to ask you about another close friend, Gladys Berejiklian, and there's somebody that you wanted to run, actually, at the next election. I've been provided with a text message exchange between the former New South Wales Premier and a current Liberal Cabinet Minister. I've got them right here. In one, she describes you as, quote, a horrible, horrible person, going on to say she did not trust you and you're more concerned with politics than people. The minister is even more scathing, describing you as a fraud and, quote, a complete psycho. Does this exchange surprise you? And what do you think it tells us?
Well, I don't know who you're referring to or the basis of what you've put to me, but I obviously don't agree with it, and I don't think that's my record.
All right, well, the feds believe the leaker of these are New South Wales Treasurer Matt Keane when he was Environment Minister. My understanding is the text messages were leaked 2 years ago and pertain to the handling of the bushfires crisis. But Peter van Onselen claimed on radio this morning they came from a current federal minister.
Yeah, look, I haven't. I've deliberately tried not to clarify that side of it. I mean, I just did then, but I've tried not to because I'm trying not to narrow down who it is. So I've tried to leave it, somewhat open-ended, and I've had messages from both state and federal journalists and reporters, as well as the politicians themselves, as they try to narrow it down. I'm trying not to get too much into that. I use the word current. Look, to be perfectly honest, I use the word current because I didn't want people to think it was a former minister of any description. I am a well-known friend of a former federal cabinet minister, and I didn't want people to think that was my source. But beyond that, I've tried not to get too into whether it's state or federal. But yes, it was a federal.
There you go. God, it took him 45 seconds to get there, but he finally says it was a federal. So the PM said today Van Onselen has his own issues, referring to a federal court action by fellow Channel 10 journalist Tegan George, which levels accusations against Van Onselen. Mr Morrison also saying he's confident these messages were not from one of his cabinet.
I mean, the journalist who raised it is facing his own questions. So, look, I'll leave others to carry on about that. There are too many other important things for me to worry about who's gossiping about me.
Are you confident the minister in that text exchange with the former New South Wales Premier isn't sitting in your cabinet right now?
Yes.
Has anyone come forward and confessed to you to the texts?
No.
Have you asked your office to investigate who that minister is?
I'm not fussed.
So Mr Keane did provide a denial on Ben Fordham this morning, but it wasn't the world's most convincing denial.
I've checked all my records. I've got no evidence that Gladys Berejiklian has ever texted me in the form that has been on the public record in the last 24 hours.
It's a very clear denial from you. Is that what you're telling us this morning?
Absolutely, Ben. Absolutely.
None of that information can be linked back to you in any way, not through you to another party, to Peter van Onselen. You know, Malcolm Turnbull's name is being thrown around by people who probably are buying into conspiracy theories. There's no link whatsoever, even involving second parties or middlemen or middlewomen, between your phone and Peter van Onselen.
Well, this is getting very conspiratorial. As I said at the start, I was not involved in the ambush on the Prime Minister yesterday.
Well, Jason Falinski, the federal MP for the New South Wales seat of Mackellar, said to Laura Jays today, whoever did leak these texts has to go.
Whoever did this, I think, has failed a pretty fundamental character test. That is not what you do to another Member of Parliament, in this case Gladys Berejiklian. That is not what you do to the Prime Minister of the country. I believe Matt Keane, and I don't think Matt Keane would be stupid enough to deny something if he knew it not to be the case. And I also, I mean, if it did turn out that it was him, well, you know, he would know now that his position is completely unviable if it turned out that it was him.
And the New South Wales Premier, Dominic Perrottet, called it a dark day for Australian politics.
I've always found the Prime Minister to be a thoroughly decent man. I think yesterday was a dark day for the media and politics generally in this country. But if we want to go back to 1980s schoolyard name calling, well, that's a terrible place to be for our country. And we all, from time to time, send text messages we may regret. But that's not news.